Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Nick's Wellness Report. And we have another live broadcast, a live interview with one of the members of the growing wellness community. And his name is David. And he is on the program and having great success. He's not been on that long, but he is one of these amazing guys. And when I first saw David, I was getting blood sugar readings in the 170s, 180s, 190s, which is very high. And you got to understand, David's my bull. Okay, this is a guy. He wants it. He's going to do it. He tests foods. He's sometimes light years ahead of us. And a quick little story is that he's been testing Snicker bars with no increase in his blood sugar levels at all. So this is a guy that's got the Herculean metabolism. And what's happened is he just had some really bad foods in there, and he's coming a long, long way. And kind of amazing. I'm going to let you tell his stories, his particulars of that thing. He's very aggressive in the testing, which is really cool, and he's very smart about the testing. He's giving us, tests and waiting in between. He's just, cucumbers and beef burgers and tacos and everything. He's going to tell the story, because the amazing part of this with this guy's silly foods you would think he could eat, he can't. And stuff that you would say, no way. So he's got like this dream diet. I mean, I see burritos going by there. Of course, he's a pretty aggressive tester, but the story is that he's put together the pieces very well. And this is another story of the progress. So I want you to get a perspective of what people in the real world are experiencing. David, welcome. How are you?
Welcome, thank you.
Well, tell me about the story. How are you doing on this thing?
I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm on a little over a month and a half, and I'm down about 15 pounds now. And actually, my wife started at the same time I did, and she's down to about 11 pounds. So from the diet standpoint or weight loss standpoint, we are seeing some success with it. So originally we got on this because we would try to take some weight off, and by using the same strategies, we would take some weight off, and the same weight would go back on, and sometimes with a little more, and we couldn't explain what was causing it. It wasn't making any sense. And when we read some of the literature on this program, some of the things struck a chord, so we thought we'd give it a try, and that's what we did. Here we are.
All right, tell me the foods you eliminated. Give me some ideas. What foods you could eat.
Well, the first thing that happened was the bread groups were a problem. Things with flour and yeast would spike me up pretty high. So that's a hard one for me to give up, or was a hard one to give up. Although it's a transition, so I can get to that in a little bit. Milk chocolate, which was really no surprise. However, dark chocolate I could eat, and that was a surprise, because dark chocolate actually makes my blood glucose go down, surprisingly. I can eat ice cream.
I love ice cream.
I thought was bad. I mean, there's things that didn't make, doesn't make sense in the normal world anyway. These were things that were bad. And for me, like nuts, I could eat all nuts, which I was staying away from some nuts because they were claimed to be fattening and such, and I'm not having any trouble with any of the nuts. Now, my wife, on the other hand, has some issues with, like, she can't have peanuts or cashews. Like, I can eat any green vegetable I've tried so far was good for me for blood glucose, but not all so much for my wife. There are certain lettuces that she reacts to. Some other vegetables also that she is somewhat susceptible to getting a higher glucose level from. Just strange anomalies like that.
It's amazing. I'm finding differences in brands of ice cream too. In other words, if it's one of these, a lot of ingredients that are replacing the cream in the ice cream, people are having trouble with that. Did I remember that you had some Mexican food on here a couple times?
One time we had Mexican food. That didn't seem to bother me. I haven't had a meat plate, just a meat portion that has given me any trouble with blood glucose. It's rice is another one that I tend to have trouble with. So it's the stuff that goes with it. And the amazing thing that's starting to change now is I'm reacting different to foods, 6-7 weeks into the process than what I had when I first started. So some of the sensitivity levels seem to be altering a little bit.
Yeah, what happens is your gut is not doing a good job processing. You end up with a lot of sugar getting alleviated from the foods. For some reason, when you get out the aggravating stuff that's making your diet go crazy, what happens is we find that you can start reintroducing foods that at first you couldn't. It's a change that everyone has. In other words, at the very beginning, you're eliminating more foods. Then, as you're getting well and your blood glucose is within normal bounds, and you're not going to those super highs, your body now is adjusting, and you do a much better job processing foods. It's amazing. You'll find that you'll be able to reintroduce a lot of things back into the diet once you get your system settled down. It's these huge spikes that you were having, by the way, where you're going to the 180s and 190s and all that your system was aggravated. Now that you don't go anywhere near that anymore, I remember the 170s and 180s on your sheets. Now that doesn't happen. So you're moderating. That means your body's healing itself, functions returning normal, weight is falling off. It's almost an automatic process. Are you hungry at all?
No, actually, I'm not hungry. It's a little bit frustrating in that I've figured out kind of the high ones, and now for the last 7 days, I've spent about a third of my time in the blue portion in the circle, which is with a lower glucose rate than what we want to target. So now I have to figure out how to mix and match the foods to elevate those lower portions and get me back in the zone where I want to be at.
Well, Groves, let me explain. We have what we call the green zone, and that is the perfect ideal blood glucose levels. Okay, that gives you the maximum health, the maximum weight loss. And so everyone comes into the program because of our diets super high. Okay, and then as you eliminate the super high foods, now all of a sudden you've got to learn to have your snack. You've got to bring more carbs back into your food and adjust it. And what we want to do is we want to get you into the green circle. So what's happening with him is that he's eliminated the foods now, and now he has to go back and retrain himself. And so it's a whole nother pattern of, can you believe it, on a diet that's saying, please eat more, please eat more, please eat more carbs, please pick up yourself out of the blue zones. So it's a really good problem to have. And remember that in modern medicine, we pay attention, the doctors pay attention to blood glucose levels going high. But there's another problem with glucose levels going low, which is one of these unaddressed problems that people have that most people don't know. A lot of fatigue, headaches, a lack of energy is because the blood glucose levels are low. We make a mistake of going too long between meals. We don't put a lot of carbs in the meals. So what's happening now is we're fine-tuning the diet. So he's now getting into a situation where he has to eat more snacks, learn that you're tailoring. What's happened is when your blood glucose is high, then you're going to eat proteins, and that moderates it. When it's low, you're going to eat more carbohydrates to bring it higher, believe it or not. We actually have people that say you have to call them up and say, okay, your level's low, have some ice cream. Yeah, a diet where your body's requiring ice cream. And this is the mystery, and what we're learning about this thing is that the body really knows how to moderate itself, and you have to give it the right food. You're basically an engine, and it's the quality of fuel that's going in there. And what's the beauty about our system is the algorithm monitors the food, how high your blood glucose goes, how fast it drops down, and then can anticipate where your blood sugar is going to be. And by adjusting it to where you're in a safety zone, in other words, you're not too high, you're not too low, wonderful things happen. The body starts rejuvenating itself. It's amazing. So David went to a situation where he was spiking very high after several meals almost every day, to where we don't see him going high anymore. He's eliminated not a lot. How many foods have you eliminated altogether?
I really haven't eliminated anything totally, but mostly in the breads and cakes, that kind of stuff. That's most of it.
Yeah, you've done a fantastic job here. So tell me, what else is going on in your life? The weight's falling off.
Yep, weight's falling off. In fact, I did something crazy today. I thought I'd see what a Snicker bars would do, since that was a nemesis too. And so I took one and cut it up into 6, and then I spaced it out and partook of it, and it hardly moved my glucose level at all. It was amazing. When I had the Snickers bar, when we first started the program, it just shot me right into the red zone.
What's happening is, what we think we're finding is the digestive tract has been destroyed by a lot of the glucose and a lot of the super yeast that are now used in production factory food. And it seems that when you eliminate them, what happens is the flora adjusts better, and your body is not shooting that glucose up, and then you can tolerate more foods. We see that with everybody. In fact, it's the chocolate bar, ice cream, candy diet, because that's not really the things that's causing the problem. In other words, sugar is getting a bad rap. Okay, most people can tolerate sugar in moderation. What seems to be the problem is the rice, the bread products, and I'll tell you something else we're finding. Depends on how the bread is made. Is it a glucose-enriched flour? Is it using a super yeast? Or is it more traditional, slow rising? It seems like the fast rising yeast is affecting people. So that's the beauty of these things. We're gonna find out what affects you. How many more pounds you got to lose?
At least 15, maybe a little bit more.
So you're halfway there.
Halfway there.
In 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks?
No, I've been on about 6.5 weeks.
So it'll take you another 10 weeks to get your weight off, probably at the rate you're falling right now.
Something in that order.
Are you hungry? No hunger pain?
Nope.
No food cravings?
Nope. Yeah, that's another interesting point. Is that there were really once we got going on it, there really weren't any cravings.
What we find happens when blood levels go high then low, hunger pains hit in. When you maintain a steady level without the extremes, people don't get hungry. They naturally eat less. As you know, we never count calories. It's just your body will tell yourself and adjust with what you need. In other words, once you kind of reset your hunger meter, then all of a sudden you're not overeating. Are you eating less, more? What are you finding on that score?
My less or more what?
Are you eating less food, more food?
I believe I'm eating less food. I don't think I consume as much. But it is a lifestyle that you have to change and rethink how you put foods together. If you're traditional and you consider certain foods as breakfast foods, for instance, those might not work. You might have to mix and match with things that you traditionally might do for lunch or dinner to make it work out so that you get the right glucose levels.
What he's saying is the glucose level is key. What he's doing is, see, when we set you up with the equipment and the data logger, which is a smartphone, you're actually seeing, as we are, what your glucose level is. So it's like if you get on a diet and you pig out with a cheesecake, you don't know about it because it doesn't hit the scale for a while. On this program, within 2 hours, you know whether you can eat it or not, and it's an instant feedback system. So that's the beauty of it, is that it's not a time delay. It's not an if and or maybe. If the glucose goes high, you can't have it, and all of a sudden, you're naturally adjusting your diet, and then, like we're saying now, what's happened now is we've cut out the highs, and now we're going to deal with the frequency of eating, And the glucose monitoring will let you know is it time for a protein, is it time for a carb, did I wait too long to have breakfast, should I have had a snack between? And that's the miracle of how this thing works out, because as you're doing that, the weight's falling off, and a lot of people have a lot of increase in libido. A lot of people have legacy medicines they're on that they slowly, under their doctor's instructions, lower it. We have amazing things. We never expected it. We never thought we would see so many other things that would seem to be secondary. For example, cholesterol seems to adjust correctly. The glucose level of the blood drives the liver. The liver is the machine that makes the cholesterol. It's the machine that regulates the body. Too much blood glucose turns into fat. So it's an amazing discovery that by monitoring this with the technology that didn't even exist, that you can tell exactly what's going on in your body. And what happens is we take it, and then the program gives back an algorithm, which is the circle charts. And basically what you want to do is you want to get the red out of the charts, you want to get the blue out, and simply get into the green. And you're monitoring, we're taking a sample every 10, 15 minutes and logging it. You don't have to, but in fact, the reader is now automatic. So what's happening is we're taking the data from the monitor directly into your handheld device, and we're taking a reading every 5 minutes, 24/7. Then you're entering in your food. Very simple. You get a food menu. At first, it's a problem until you get the foods you normally eat, and then once you get it, it's just a second, because what you've got is a list of foods you have, and you just pick what you're having, and all of a sudden, you're seeing a direct comparison to the food at the time you ate it and the blood sugar level. And people are having a miracle change in life. It's amazing. You know, I'll tell you, I'm monitoring everybody on the program. We have no one that has not seen improvement. Not one person. Everyone has seen blood glucose go down. Everyone is losing weight. Everyone is seeing improvement in the numbers. And it's just an incredible discovery. My God, huh? Do you ever think it would be that simple, you know? So we're moving into this whole new world now where, because of science, because of the ability to monitor the blood levels, we're learning that no two people have the same foods. No two. In our database, we're looking at 500, 600 people, probably close to 600 now, and no one has the same list. It's as unique as the person is, and it's amazing. The other thing is that as they go further along in this, and good health returns, and the legacy problems resolve themselves naturally, the food list expands. It's kind of amazing. Well, David, thank you for your time. You have a great story. You're going to come back when you've lost another 15 pounds now and tell us about it, okay?
I'll be ready.
Thanks you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. Anyway, this is just a story of people like you that without anything crazy, without having to live on carrot, I call it bunny rabbit food, you know, carrots and celery and lettuce for the rest of your life. David's become our Snicker bar champion, and people are eating ice cream. And it's crazy. You just don't know till you test. So I urge you, if you've got a weight problem, if you've got a pre-diabetic or diabetic problem, you might find that getting your blood sugar levels under control by making your refrigerator your medicine cabinet and making your foods your medicine is a much better way of doing this. Health returns, weight falls off. People who are tired all the time find they got energy levels. That's something you're hearing a lot about. We're seeing people who have their cholesterol numbers with their blood test the best ever. We're seeing people have their blood pressure lowering. So this is a revolution in understanding diet. So I thank you. And we're going to try to do 2 interviews a week, by the way. And we'll be publishing them on the NixWellnessReport.com website. Come to it often and see. And when you're ready, give us a call, and we'll get you hooked up, and we can change your life. Anyway, appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.